2, 1. Ready.
Just relax and enjoy the ride.
INCROWD 815, INCROWD 815, INCROWD 815, INCROWD 815, 815.
Hey, welcome. We all know it's true. We don't want to say it. Self-driving cars probably going to repossess themselves someday. I'm Greg. This is your INCROWD 815 podcast for the 26th day of February, the year 2024, the latest it has ever been in the history of mankind, and you made it. And I think we have what we need today to make a show work and fly and do all that stuff. We have Jim Hutson on with us today from the Winnebago County Casa. Hello, Jim.
Hi, good morning, Greg. How are you?
Very, very well. Thanks for being so flexible and joining us on this, this Monday. For those who tried to watch us on Saturday, thanks for tuning back into this now, because Saturday something happened with our Restream feed and I don't know what. I still haven't figured it out. It was just really weird that everything looked good on our screen and didn't get recorded like it normally does. But two solid years before I had any issues at all with Restream, and I don't even know if it's their problem. Might have been some other issue, but welcome to you. And how was your weekend besides being interviewed and knowing that all of that is gone and never going to be aired?
Well, it was 60 degrees yesterday, Sunday, so I had a terrific weekend. Yeah,
Did you get outside, enjoy it a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought it was May for a second.
Yeah, gotta love that. Every time it gets above like 55, I'm tempted to get the kayak out and hit the Kishwaukee River for a little bit. And
you better have a suit.
That's right. With the ski broncs have wetsuits. Maybe I could borrow one from them. That'd be
nice.
That'd be helpful. Well, we want to talk about all things Casa on this edition of the INCROWD 815 podcast, and I guess as a precursor to what all things Casa is all about, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up? Where are you from? And how'd you find yourself here in Rockford?
Wow, that's a lot of questions. So Greg, I'm from around Indianapolis, Indiana. Moved here to the Chicago area around the time I was finishing college. Started working in behavioral health, switched over to fundraising, and decided for the last, I don't know if you can see it, we're on my phone, with the white hair, I'm probably in the last decade of my career here. So I thought, you know what, let's go back to where we started. So working with children who are in very tough circumstances. So here at Winnebago County Casa, we work with children who have experienced abuse and neglect. They're part of the court system. It's a really difficult situation for them to be in. So we are trying to help them navigate the process and live the best lives they can possibly live.
And they've got issues to overcome that most of the time, probably 99.9% of the time, are of no doing of their own.
None.
So
I would say 100% of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wanted to leave a sliver in there just in case. But yeah, court-appointed special advocate, correct?
That's right. So what we do is we recruit and train CASAs, court-appointed special advocates. What a CASA does is they represent the best interest of that child who's in the court system. They represent the best interest of that child in court. So they'll submit a report. Our staff, of course, help with that. But they're really looking at a snapshot of where that child is right now. The judges that we talk to and the judges here in Winnebago County are just absolutely fantastic. But one of the things each of them says to us is the first report they read, CASA report. It does a number of things, but one of the things that it does is it personalizes the court case. It's not about being a number on a docket. It's about an actual child who is, as you indicated, are here through no effort of their own, right? This is all being done to them, and they're just simply reacting. Our CASA volunteers are unbelievable people. They're donating, 10 plus hours of their own personal time per month to meet with the child, to meet with the, the bio family or the foster family or a teacher or a doctor, whomever. They're trying just to get a snapshot of what's happening with that child, and looking forward to permanency for that child, whether it's going home or elsewhere, so that child can know that for the rest of their upbringing that they're going to be in a pretty solid situation.
So for those who are wondering, this is not becoming a foster parent. This is not housing a child. Most of these kids probably are being put in foster situations, more or less.
Yeah, that's such a great point, Greg. Most of the children that we work with have been removed from their home and they've been placed into foster care. We have nothing to do with that. Our name unfortunately implies otherwise. I think when the term Casa was termed 35 plus years ago, people in Seattle, Washington, where it was founded, weren't really thinking ahead with that. But no, so we have nothing to do with where the child lives. We're simply advocating for the child. And again, most of these children are already in foster care by the time we step into the situation. So we try to be part of the solution so that, if it's the bio parents or whomever, have a game plan for how to improve their parenting skills, perhaps getting their own lives back together, so that these children can just be in simply the best option for them going forward. I also want to say one of our goals is to stop child abuse here. And by here I mean in time. Many of these parents, this is how they were treated. It's not I'm not saying that to cut them any slack for how they've treated their children. Having said that, it is a cycle of abuse, and we want to end that cycle of abuse now, so that someone talking to you on this podcast 20 years from now is talking about lower numbers of need here in the Rockford community.
It's a situation, like you say, that sometimes these cases are simply that the case may be against the parent themselves. So it's a lot of sad stories. I can't imagine. It takes a special person, obviously, to be involved in a situation like this, where they can track the story and get the child's story from their perspective and represent them in court.
It does. And I'll also say this, our staff here at Winnebago County Casa are just fabulous. One of the things they need to do is work on self-healing with the Casa volunteers. I mean, our volunteers are stepping into very emotional and turbulent situations. That can be trying for any of us. My first day, when I was doing orientation, they showed a video, about a 10-minute video. I was bawling like a baby, and I am not prone to crying, but it was so emotional. And so our volunteers and staff go through so much, and we encourage all of them to, find things in your life that help you center yourself, so that you can deal with what you see. And the other thing I want to say about that briefly is we also ask our Casa volunteers not to talk to anybody about the case. You can't talk to your spouse about it. You can't talk to your coworkers or friends about it. You can give maybe a generality, but you can't give anything that gives away who that child might be, who that foster family might be, who any of the parties involved might be. And so we're asking people to take on a lot, and it is a lot. Yeah.
And there's, I think that when we talk about volunteers, and we talk about volunteerism a whole lot on this podcast, because that's where we're involved with a lot of Rockford area not-for-profits and the businesses that support them. And a lot of those businesses, they may do a volunteer day, a cleanup day. I know our office at Keller Williams Realty, we do something called Red Day every May that is renew, educate, donate. We typically pick a a not-for-profit locally that needs something physically done, whether that's landscaping or painting or packing things or, whatever. And so we close down the office for a whole day, and a whole bunch of volunteers go out and do an events like that. And a lot of offices do that a couple times a year. This is a completely different breed of volunteer needed for something like this. Someone with with not just the time and the hearts, but what would you describe, I guess, the ideal Casa volunteer to look like?
An adult who wants to help children. It's so interesting when you look over the expanse of volunteers. They come from all kinds of different backgrounds. Some are professional, some work in factories, some are retired. They just come from all walks of life, all races, all ethnicities, all religions. It's super. It's just super to see so many different people. And yeah, we're not asking them to come in for 2 hours and paint and then everything looks great. And those are wonderful when that happens. By the way, we're asking people to dedicate 2 years of their life, because that's about how long it's going to take for the court case to last on average, and about 10 hours per month. And 10 hours per month doesn't sound like a lot until you realize it's going to be at least 24 months or so. And then, those hours start to add up. In addition to that, because we're working with children and because this is part of the court system, it's a lot of training. So it's 35 hours of classroom training. We meet on Thursday evenings. We can be flexible with that. But it's an awful lot of training for people. The cool thing at the end, and when they complete the training, and we do these every other month, we have a judge who comes in and gives a little speech, and then the judge actually swears in each of the Casa volunteers who graduated. And people bring their families, they bring their friends, we have dinner. We're a not-for-profit, so it's, there's no steak or lobster at this dinner, but we have a dinner and we celebrate. And it's terrific, because we know that children will be helped because of these volunteers. And I also want to say, we have about 100 volunteers right now serving 300 to 350 children each year. The need here in Rockford, children who are not receiving Casa services who could use them, is over 800. So it's terrific what we do. It really is. It really is. The stories, and they're just, it's unbelievable what happens, but the need is so much greater. We're always in need of new volunteers. Every time we have a volunteer, that means a child or two or three is going to get the services that are going to help their case move quicker through the system. And it's going to help them, because oftentimes the Casa volunteer is the most consistent person in that child's life in those 2 years. And it hurts to even say that, but it's true. And so the more Casa volunteers we can get, the more children we're going to help.
I recently had a chance to chat with the gal who heads up the Boone County Casa, and she had mentioned in our meeting, Charlotte was mentioning that thankfully Boone County has all of their current Casa needs met, and they have enough volunteers to cover their current workload. And she was quick to say, our friends over here in Winnebago County, though, could really use your help. If someone doesn't live in Winnebago County, can they still volunteer and become a Winnebago County Casa?
Sure they can. We definitely have people that live outside of Winnebago County. We have people who work here, perhaps, or this is close by, and they want to find a way to help. So if someone is in the neighborhood, as it were, and they want to volunteer, I mean, we're going to ask some challenging questions, because again, you have to do it every month. You have to meet with that child every single month. And so if someone has the wherewithal to do that and they don't live here in Winnebago County, then we'll ask some difficult questions, but hopefully at the end of that conversation, we're able to move forward.
I think some people might hear my statements and questions when I talk to not-for-profits about volunteerism, and they might take what I'm saying as me discouraging them from volunteering.
No.
And I got to tell you what I'm doing. What I'm doing is setting expectations, because I'm a realtor. I understand expectations. And
Yeah.
what I really want to make sure people understand is, when they're signing up to volunteer for something, let's just make sure we know upfront what it is you're actually volunteering to do. It's not showing up once a month to paint something. It's not showing up, once a quarter to review papers and vote yes or no on some sort of board. This is getting involved face to face with a child who needs to know you're going to be there for them. Like you said, on average 2 years, it might be 4 years or 6 years. Who knows how long the court case is going to last?
Yeah, one of the things we do, and sometimes it may seem as if we're trying to discourage volunteers, but excuse me, we want to ensure that the person who comes in is going to fulfill those 2 years or so. And excuse me, we would much rather a person decide not to volunteer than have someone come in, do it for 6 months, and then walk away. I mean, this child's life is tumultuous enough. We don't want to be the group that adds to that. We want to be value added. So it may seem as if you and us are discouraging people. We're just trying to be real. The other thing we know, most people who volunteer with us, it's not a snap decision. It's most people say, yeah, it took me 6 to 8 months to decide when I first really started seriously thinking about it. You have to think about how it impacts your job. How does it impact my family? And how am I going to deal with the emotion of going into some of these situations? So people tell us that they are so happy that they've done it. They can really tell that they've made a difference in the world. But that's at the end. The process can be challenging at times.
And there's another point. You might be one and done. You might be able to commit to doing one time, and you're like, okay, I realize what this did to me emotionally, and it was a little more than I really want to take on again. And you've done your duty, so to speak, and you're happy that you volunteered, but maybe just one was enough. And then there are those who are just built for this. Some people are built for this emotionally, and their time that they have available to them, they might be able to do this 2, 3, 4, 5 different children and help them through their cases over the years. So don't put too much pressure on yourself to do something. As much as I like when people do something out of their comfort zone and grow and do things that are a little bit hard sometimes, you got to know your limits too. You got to know where you're a volunteer. And my hand is not raised today to become a Casa. I'm not ready for something like that personally myself, just in case anyone's wondering where I'm coming from on this. I do other volunteer things that I know I can handle. Maybe someday. I haven't ruled out pursuing this at some point later down the line, but today this guy is not ready to be a Casa. So I hope someone isn't feeling too pressured to do this. That really shouldn't be doing this, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, just to cap that, we have people who have been volunteers for 20, 30 years. We just had 4 people step down from our board. My goodness, each of them volunteered to be on our board of directors for over 30 years. That's just, I cannot imagine that kind of commitment. Unbelievable people, and each of them are pillars within our community. They're just absolutely terrific.
Well, thanks to them for all of their service, and I'm sure that they will continue to support what Casa does. And one of the ways that you can do that is coming up in April. I want everyone to save the dates. April 13th at the Embassy Suites downtown Rockford for the big Casa Royale.
Casa Royale.
Is this the first time this has been done, or is this annual?
Yeah, this is our third one. Yeah, so we're excited by it. We think we have it down now, although there's always things you don't think of that pop up. But one of our board members, Michael Ramos, is running this. It is terrific to have board members step up and really move these things forward. So Michael is leading us Saturday, April 13th. this is a fundraiser. So, we're hoping people can show up and donate a little bit. And it'll also be an opportunity to interact with some Casa volunteers, just to see what kind of people they are.
Absolutely.
But we're going to have live music. We're going to have gaming. You don't win any money, but you can win some chips, and you can use the chips to turn them into raffle tickets, and then win some terrific prizes. So it's a fun night.
I've been a dealer before at a charity fundraiser poker event. So just let me know if you need someone to fill in at one of the blackjack tables.
We will do that. And it's so much fun to interact with people who've never gambled before, and, teach them some of the signs and, things that they can do so that they can really feel a part of it. It's a lot of fun. Everyone has a blast. We have food stations, carving stations. It's a great night.
Yeah, this is the most fun way to gamble, because you're not really gambling. You're just plunking down your dollars for your chips, and then you play them as you will, as you wish. If you lose them all, no big deal. You already made your donation. If you win something, you've got money to spend at the end of the night for whatever raffles are going on. So
absolutely.
April 13th, a Saturday evening, out at the beautiful Embassy Suites there down on the riverfront on Main Street. So
yeah, and I hear the weather's going to be terrific. So yeah,
it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful evening. Well, if that's the big next event, we've already talked about the need for volunteers. If anybody wants to explore becoming a volunteer with Casa, please go to that webpage. Even the event webpage will get you there. Homepage. I'll put that homepage in the chat right now, so it's easy to find.
Thank you. It's WinnebagoCountyCasa.org. Or people can just call our office, 815-319-6880.
Awesome. Before I let you go, is there a question that you wish people would ask you about Casa that doesn't seem to ever get asked? Or, some people are maybe feel afraid to ask, and you wish they would not be afraid to ask some certain question?
I wish more people would ask, well, what does this mean for the children? Because we probably focus too much on the impact of the abuse and neglect, and we watch the news and it's negative, and when we gossip it's negative, and we have really positive stories. Over the past year, over 75% of the children that we worked with who were at senior age, graduation age, graduated from high school. That's a significant number over the rest of the state and the nation. That's where our terrific staff and their expertise are just so helpful. But I wish more people would ask about, what does this mean for the child? The focus is on permanency in terms of where they live. That will always be the focus, but it's not the only thing that child receives. That child receives an awful lot of support and encouragement as well.
That's good. Great place to end, Jim. I appreciate your time today, and I look forward to seeing you April 13th. I'm planning on being there if I can at all possible.
Thank you. And thank you for dealing with my phone today.
You bet. Thank you, Jim.
All right. Bye-bye.
5 in